Hey everybody, and welcome back to Video Game So today I got a fun and very exciting episode for you guys this evening, because if you can't tell already, we're playing Mystical Ninja Starring Goemon, but we are not playing the Nintendo 64 original. We have another recompilation project here, just like in the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask vein, which I showed you a few months ago. And this was made by Chlorphmorph and posted randomly to a Goemon Discord server, and someone got in touch with me over the weekend and let me know it existed and sent me the files, so that is what we are playing here today. And if you're not aware of what the recompilation project is, it's basically recompiling the Nintendo 64 code for the game using the original files, and then it is outputting that into a recompiled version that will run on Windows with so many graphical enhancements, upscales, and other quality of life improvements. Genuinely feels sometimes like playing a new game. And of course, we always want to celebrate efforts like that. Before we get too far involved, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But getting a recompiled version of Mystical Ninja Starring Goemon makes it kind of feel like an absolutely brand new game, just one that you're probably very familiar with, because this is just one of those classic Nintendo 64 games. Now do be aware, off the top, this has been recompiled based upon the Japanese version of the game, so right now the Japanese language is going to be the only option to play, which is going to make things ever so slightly harder, but it is a fun proof of concept. And if you've never played this game before, it has a very unique sense of humor that you definitely are going to have to get into, but it's got some awesome open world 3D gameplay, some fun mechanics, and a really fun art style, which just looks that much better in the recompiled version. And just so you know, there's a user out there called Novel Ezra who is now maintaining an Excel spreadsheet with all of the decompiled and recompiled Nintendo 64 projects on them, so I've been giving him some information on stuff as well, and I will leave a link to that in the description below so you know what has currently been finished, how to play it, and then when new games get added you will know as well. But as we run into the first open world area here for combat, seeing this game run in 16:9 and getting all of these internal rendering resolution bumps just looks absolutely incredible. Sure, the lines on some of the 2D assets on the trees are a little bit more obvious when you don't have the Nintendo 64 blurring going on, but you can also run this game at its native resolution. You can do downsampling, you can do so many different things with the option, which I will show you in a moment. This is basically the same tool set that made Majora's Mask the recompiled version, so all of the quality of life improvements and other features within Majora's Mask are going to come across on Goemon here as well. But the interiors, the textures, the models just look so good when they are upscaled and moved over to 16:9. There are a few areas in the game in which the widescreen rendering throws a little bit of an issue, mostly on boss fights that were definitely meant with the heads-up display just to display in 4:3, but otherwise this looks absolutely incredible. And if you do want to pop back to 4:3, just open up the menu and you're going to have full control over that. You have a full controller remap screen, which is going to be great as well. You can kind of map anything you want. You have some general settings, and the graphical menu is going to be where so many things happen. Automatic resolution, original or 2x, you've got the downsampling, aspect ratio, windowed versus full screen, the frame rate being locked to the monitor or the original game. So many different awesome things to do, including anti-aliasing, and that's the greatest part about this recompiled version of Goemon. It's working on the same toolset that Majora's Mask did, so you're going to be able to do the exact same things within the options menu, and having downsampling is always going to be fun as well. But these are just awesome projects. This game on the Nintendo 64 is an absolute hit. It works incredibly well on MiSTer FPGA, but so many of you out there want to play these retro games in a more modern format, so the recompilation projects are giving you just that. All sorts of quality of life improvements, all sorts of graphical improvements, different control schemes, allowing you to play a classic game with a way more modern look and feel. And for me, honestly, if I was going to pick a new game to be able to play on a recompiled version, Goemon would be very high up on that list, but honestly Bomberman Hero would be my number one. And just be aware that this is not completely finished. You can play the game from start to finish, you can see the credits scroll, and you can play it in 16:9 for 99% of it. And if you do run into one of those widescreen bugs where it's just not showing the graphics correctly, just pop back to 4:3. But one of the best things about the recompiled version of this game is just how good the audio sounds. Listen, and I'll be right back with more. Not only does this game have an awesome soundtrack, but it also sounds incredible coming across on the recompiled version. So as far as the audio is concerned, an absolute 10 out of 10. And I will say in 16:9 or widescreen, some of the platforming and navigation in this game end up being a little bit easier in a good way, because you're just able to see that much more of what's going to be happening in front of you. Because in the original version of the game on Nintendo 64, there were definitely some jumps that you'd have to take almost half blind sometimes. And if you fell, you would sometimes feel like the game tricked you into falling, and it wasn't actually your inability to jump at the right time. And I just love how all of these textures upscale as well. They look so good. They still have a little bit of that Nintendo 64 blurriness, but they are a lot clearer and crisper at 1920 by 1080 or whatever other resolution you want to put onto the game. And that is just awesome. This is such a fun game to play, and it is still a great experience on the Nintendo 64, but honestly, getting something like this just makes it that much better and that much more infinitely accessible to new players or players that want to come back to the game. Because you do need to remember, not everyone grew up with Nintendo 64, and when they hear a game that they should play, something like Mystical Ninja Starring Goemon, they might try to play it and find it a little bit too aged for them to really get into it. So recompilation projects like this are so good. You can even see some of the lighting on Goemon there, and just the overall character model and how well that does actually upscale within the recompilation. And that's why these static recompilations are so exciting. They basically just allow you with 2 clicks to be able to play a game that you know, love, and remember in a completely modern way. And it means that the tool set for recompilation is expanding to other games as well. Now that doesn't mean that this tool is going to immediately recompile every single Nintendo 64 game out there. If that was in fact the case, you would already see it. There does need to be and will need to be some adjustments to the tool depending on what SDK a game would have used back in the day and what specific features it may have used as well. So this is not a silver bullet sort of thing where you could just magically make every game recompile at once. It's possible in the future a tool like that may come into effect, but right now this is definitely a very hands-on, heavy, high-touch sort of situation in which you need to make it work. But even with that effort, you get such fun results like this. I just love, again, how good this game looks upscaled and how the sense of scale within the game in and of itself comes across that much more in 16:9, because this game used large expansive open areas for a lot of the gameplay, and seeing more of it really does just kind of set the scale off and make the game feel that much bigger and that much more epic. But tell me down below, do you like this in 16:9, or would you rather do the internal scaling and quality of life features but still maintain the original 4:3 aspect ratio? For me, widescreen all day long, but I'd love to ask your guys' opinion to hear what it is you're looking for out of these projects, because when I showed you the Majora's Mask recompilation, there were so many comments saying what game people would love to see next. Hopefully Goemon was on your list, because this is just absolutely awesome. And the funniest thing is, it was just hiding in a Discord server and basically nobody knew about it, myself included, until someone told me. So anytime you see something new and you think maybe I don't know about it, just leave me a comment. Chances are I do know, but if I don't, it may end up being a video like Goemon here. And again, just all of the bright cheery colors the developers at Konami use for this game, that light fog effect, everything just looks so much better upscaled in my opinion. But again, you'll see a little bit of polygon culling at the edges in 16:9, and if you don't like that, 4:3 will definitely be for you, but for the most part you don't really notice that much. And all of the new control options, all of the new graphical options, all of the new quality of life improvements are so worth checking this game out. But like I said in the beginning of the video, and I'm sure you've seen in the text boxes here, it is just the Japanese version of the game, so hopefully it gets the North American English version added to the recompilation project soon, because it's going to make it a lot easier to understand the story and play the game. But short of that, Mystical Ninja Starring Goemon is here in the Nintendo 64 recompilation project, and it looks, sounds, and plays absolutely outstanding. The recompiled games for Nintendo 64 are quickly becoming one of my favorite things of 2024, and I can't wait to see what game comes next. But leave me a comment down below and tell me if you could snap your fingers and make one game appear recompiled for Nintendo 64, which one it would be. Short of that, we're done, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.